And it's just,
I love that. I love
this
that.
case, anyway, I didn't mean to get it. Yeah, I'm glad I went off on that rant. Stop it. Not only stop putting down prayer, won't you try it? Get on your knees now and then and talk to God, and I guarantee you'll feel better. Anyway. Okay, we got so much to start with. Locally here, you know what we missed on there? The
What?
Mayor Dyer F-off
Oh, yeah.
story.
What do we miss?
We do have slow news days, front page. Mayor tells councilman to F off. Boom! Down below in Palm 3, Ukraine war still rages.
Yeah. Homelessness still a problem.
Homelessness is still run, crime still through the
still
roof.
up. Yeah.
Front page, Mayor tells Bredefeld to F off. But there's a lot of dysfunction going on down there. You pointed out the show. And then let's just start local and then reverberate
Branch out
to the, but dadgum. We went down the name calling, Gary calling these four council persons, female in there. Soria, the gang of four. And you have Miguel Arias responding, calling him Councilman Chicken Little. Then you have the departed city attorney, Doug Sloan, calling Nelson Esparza, which is my favorite, pissant millennial. And then we forgot, though, the dueling litigation between Michael Carbasi and Ms. Storia, correct?
Yeah.
They're suing each other.
$4.5 million.
Yeah. Just a great atmosphere to get the business of the people done for the city of Fresno, correct?
You know what I would rather have? I'd rather have a reality show right now behind the scenes. I would watch that.
It is a reality
I would
show.
watch it. It really is.
It's like the Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Mixed in with The Office.
Yes. This is except Michael. Who's Michael Scott in that? I don't know. I think Michael Scott would be Georgianne White, the city manager.
Oh, man.
No, she's great. She's probably the voice of reason.
She probably is, yeah.
Well, she was my chief of staff for, 8 years and did a wonderful job. So that wouldn't fit her, Michael Scott. But she's, gosh, she must be just shaking her head going, my goodness, I remember the day when, the circus and the zoo was out at Roding Park.
Oh yeah, no, it's like Jumanji right now. They're all at City Hall. They're everywhere.
And we thought Barnum and Bailey Circus was dead.
Oh gosh,
we thought they disbanded. No, they're Fresno. Every Thursday, you can go down there and watch it.
Oh man, let me ask you this because I've been driving around town a lot the last couple of days. Fresno has changed.
You think
it has. From our all-American city days. That was during your tenure, right?
No, that was an accomplishment by my predecessor.
Really?
Mr. Jim Patterson. They did a great job, and a fellow community activist named Keith Kelly was very.
Okay, so
I was the one who tried to build a lake. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Okay,
yeah.
Don't confuse me with all of them.
And take over the school.
Yeah, don't confuse me with Jim Patterson. He's better looking and better hair.
Oh, louder too. So it's just changed, Alan.
Yeah.
From the streets. There's more homeless out. There's more litter, graffiti. Fresno is now becoming. I don't know when the turning point was. I don't know if it was during COVID, but our city looks different. I applaud the mayor for doing Beautify Fresno because it's needed. Imagine if he wasn't doing Beautify Fresno, but Fresno has changed. I'm
ready for the Beautify Allen act. I need a new face, man. I don't want to go to Hollywood. Just, go ahead.
Fresno needs
Jeremy likes that. Beautify Autry. Come on. I go around the city a lot. People would like that if I had it pulled a little bit there, but I'm afraid if I do that plastic surgery, I'll wind up looking like Robert Blake. Remember Beretta?
No.
No, I forget you, little millennial. You little pissant millennial.
I'm gonna sue you,
Moreno.
Alan.
I didn't mean that. I have a lovely son. I love him. I absolutely love him. As my own. He's like my own son. No, Robert Blake used to play Beretta. And you can Google him. But he went in and just I don't know why. He says later how much he regretted it. Went and got plastic surgery. And he walked out looking like a snake. He went on a Johnny Carson show. Johnny Carson was just looking at him. And Robert Blake goes, all right, go ahead and say he was an Italian guy. Say it. I know. I look like a freaking snake. This is what happens. Don't do this. Don't get this. But a Beautify Allen face would be, go ahead. I interrupted you. It's Manic Monday. Go ahead.
Nah, hey, listen, it's a Monday. But
it does look different.
Yeah. It feels different, Alan.
And in terms of graffiti, let me tell you, living in Fresno, what you have to do in order to deal with situations of which you don't have control of, that the state has control of. And every mayor in this state can relate to this. It would blow your mind. Your mind would explode. Some of the simplest things you think the city has control of, but it's actually the state. So you have to either get state approval or the state has to actually make the decision and take the action.
Let me give you go pick up litter.
Well, let me give you an example. I hate graffiti. I've been in LA. I know when you let graffiti go, it's one of those things. I can't explain it. Jerry Dyer, we talked about it the other day, and I really made the graffiti public enemy number one in terms of beautification. And we got written up in newspapers in St. Petersburg, Florida, one on how graffiti free we were. You'd come south from the north, and there'd be graffiti in those cities. You come through Fresno, no graffiti on the freeways or any place. Come in. Then you go south. All the graffiti in Los Angeles. But let me tell you what I had to do just to get graffiti off of the freeway. I drove in to work every day, and there was this at Shaw Avenue. There was some of that gang crap. That means something. I don't know the games. They're speaking in some kind of Egyptian.
Amen to that.
Oh God, what is that? But I mean, it's all across Shaw Avenue. And I got in there. I said, Georgiana, we got to get the graffiti folks out there. And she said, she checked into it. She said, okay, checks into it. Talks to me that afternoon and said, we don't have a graffiti truck that can go up and do that. I said, what? We don't. Goes, well, who does? Because we got to get up there and get it off. I said, well, the state has it. I said, the state has the trucks, right? We'll call the state. She says, Mayor, I'm ahead of you, already did. They've got 2 trucks.
The whole state?
The whole state.
At that time, 2 graffiti trucks.
2 graffiti trucks to remove graffiti off the freeway overpasses in the entire state of California.
Oh, come on.
I bet you they have more in South Dakota.
Probably.
And not exactly the graffiti capital of the world. So I said, what? I said, all right. When can they get here? Send one down here. So they she got on the phone. Next day, I'm driving by it. And I'm triggered. I'm going by. I'm drinking my little Starbucks and going to that show. Ooh. And then I get in there. She talked to the state. I think this was in late September. They couldn't be there till January 12th.
Unbelievable.
I said, what? I said, you call them back. So she did. Calls them back. Something like January 12th. It's an enormous amount of time. I'm back to them. No, can't do it. I said, all right. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to call Chief Brugman, the fire department, and tomorrow at noon, I want you to have him bring a fire truck to the Shaw overpass, meet me there. I want them to put a harness on me, and I want them to lower me down with a bucket of graffiti removing materials, and I'm going to personally remove that graffiti. I want all the media there, okay? Then after I remove it, after they hang me down there and pull me back up, I'm going to have a press conference. I'm going to explain why I had to be harnessed up by the Fresno Fire Department and lowered over the edge of an overpass to remove that. You tell Sacramento that I'm going to do it. And they know I'm a little crazy anyway. So they know I'm going to do this. And she does. Next day, we had a truck. We had a truck that miraculously appeared the next morning. But look at what you have to go through to deal with the state. And that's just one small example of the so-called big issues. It's almost totally state control. And yet you have Gavin Newsom going, we make the rules in California.
Yeah.
We're the model for the rest of the country. This man actually thinks what he's done here in California, what was done before him. He just took the baton, Guillermo.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they'll blame that all on Guillermo. No, you would change it. I'm going to vote. You should run for governor.
Oh man, they couldn't handle me.
Huh?
They couldn't handle.
That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah.
You get the people behind you.
Let me ask you this: homelessness.
Yes.
What do you do? Because I've seen. I gave some. I have an.
What do you do? I have an absolute answer. It's not It's not complicated to make a real massive dent into the homelessness issue.
What do you do?
Back 30 years ago, or 40 years, did you see a lot of homeless?
No.
Well, they still had mental health issues back then. Okay? Here's the deal. About 90%, maybe more, of those that you see on the street have significant to very severe mental health issues. Okay? They don't have the means and the wherewithal to help themselves. They need help to get off of the street drugs, because what they're doing, they're drinking the alcohol, taking the meth, any other drug they can get their hand on, to stop those voices in their head. Gives them some peace. Okay? They get severe mental health. A lot of schizophrenia, a lot of bipolar disorder. Well, back in the day, you had facilities where these folks could go, where they could get the good drugs to stop those voices, not street drugs. Things like lithium. They were finding new drugs almost every week to treat schizophrenia, the manic depressive, and the other disorders in the mind. Then one of my political heroes, and I'm quick to say he wasn't perfect. People think because I like Ronald Reagan, what he did, that I agree with every policy that he before he didn't. He raised taxes 3 times. He declared amnesty and he emptied the mental health hospitals in the state of California. And he shut them down. All of the mental health patients came onto the streets.
Why did he shut them down?
I do not know. I guess he thought that made a judgment that the private sector would pick that up, that charitable organizations nonprofits would come in and treat the mental health, but they were simply overwhelmed. Then the society got more complicated. Pressures continued to mount in this old world. You had more and more mental health issues continuing to grow with people. So here's the deal. Your proposition, 47, whatever. But they talk about housing first. Housing first is going to do nothing unless you have services. Now, if you talk to Mayor Dyer, and you talk to people around the state, around this country, really, except in the South, they do things a little different. You say, okay, now, they say, well, we have services for them. We're giving housing and services, addiction counseling and mental health counseling and all that stuff, right? But then you ask the question, the key question, the overriding question is, are those services mandated? Do they have to go to those services in order to have that roof over their head? And the answer is no. You don't. Now, I can tell them, from my own experience with drugs and alcohol, if I was never going to voluntarily, my 8 years, going to voluntarily go get help.
Yeah.
Life had to come crashing down on me so bad, and it did, and God delivered me from it. That's one way. It does happen. But usually it's a process. You go get help, and you do it day to day, and you have people that know what's going on, treating you day to day, giving you that therapy that you need, and giving you the drugs that you need. So until they realize the state has to intervene, and the ACLU will come running, personal rights, this and that.
Yeah.
Well, here's what you have to say, though. You can't live out on the streets. You can't be in the dividers. Your dividers are the berms in the highway. It's a danger to you. It's a danger to others. You can't live out on the streets because you don't own that, and you can't. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, on the corner on Herndon, on Herndon, I saw 8:00 this morning. There was a homeless man asleep with his dog. I mean, they look cute.
Yeah.
I mean, the dog was like all wrapped up, but I mean, it was.
Don't try to pet that dog.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Those dogs take care of their.
But
masters.
they were out there. I mean, asleep.
Yeah,
busy.
So what needs to happen is intervention, one by one. You just intervene, and who is your guardian? Who's your responsible individual in your life? You find that individual, you contact them, and say, "Look, you're going to this person," and go through the process. They'll be judged incompetent to control their own matters. That's how you got into the mental hospital before, back in the day. You made that determination, and if the responsible family member says, "I don't want anything. I can't do it. I can't take care of them. I can't, I'm out. Then the state has to be the one to come in and be the guardian for that individual and insist that that individual get help. Until that happens, you are never, the homelessness situation is going to continue to get worse. And I know that rubs some people the wrong way, but it's the only way. You know, the truth will set you free, but first it'll make you miserable.
Yeah.
And the miserable truth is you have, the state's going to have to come in, have housing, yes, but with that housing are mandatory services that you have to participate in. By all means, don't be delivering syringes and needles and making it easier for them to get high, like they're doing in San Francisco.
It is going to filter around to Fresno. But what do you do with the homeless person that says, yeah, I like living here in Fresno, and I like living on the streets. You can go pound sand. I don't need help. You need help. Get away from me. What do you do with those? What
clear indicator that someone is mentally ill than having one say, I like living out on the streets when it's 110?
But that doesn't.
What?
They're not going to go in on a 5150 though.
No, but you can't stay there. You either have to you move on down the line.
But they go to the next business.
Yeah, but what happens? They'll run out of businesses to go to. You have to keep them. You can't stay here. Trust me, it works. It takes about, for me, my dealings with the homeless, with our documentary we were doing, it takes about 10, 15 contacts with that homeless person.
Wow.
To even get them to say, I'll consider coming off the streets and getting into a housing situation and get some kind of treatment.
We're never going to solve the problem. Because if it takes you multiply 10 to 15 contacts by the amount of people that we have and the staff that we don't have, we're never.
No, I disagree, because it's hard. Here's what I'm saying. It's not complicated, but it's very hard. You have organizations, individuals, ready to mobilize to go out and make these contacts if the system will do its part. Don't put them in the revolving door, because, Mayor Dyer's going around in the council, look, we got this housing.
We bought this hotel.
Yeah, but they're still out on the street. It's like, this is what they don't get. That individual's life goes to work every day. Their work is going and panhandling for money. Mm-hmm. So you think they're going to just stay inside there and watch Dr. Phil or 90 Day Fiance on their phone, on the TV? They're not. They have phones, they organize, they come out. So they're saying, Dad, gum. You're walking around going, all this housing, but I still see homeless everywhere. Now, if they were forced to get treatment in those homes, you would see a drastic reduction. And you say, and you have to, I call it hammer and hope. You have to have hammer in one hand, hope in the other. You say, here's, we're going to provide this for you. Taxpayers are going to provide this opportunity for you, a place to live. These people to provide the services, they have to be paid by somebody, and it's us, for you, homeless individual. We're gonna help you, okay? But you have to comply and you have to do your part, because the thought of accountability disappears. It's about survival. They have to relearn survival on the street from not just day to day, hour to hour. There was somebody going around killing homeless, just a serial killer killing homeless here in Fresno. You found bodies out in canals everywhere. Now, if you found that out in North Fresno, bodies everywhere in North Fresno, you'd have the whole police force out trying to find serial killer on the loose at River Park. But it's in the homeless community. Hey, you don't really hear about it. It's a one-day story, if that. But you just have to give the homeless what they need, not what they want at the time, because their mind is so distorted with drugs and the amount of time that they've been out there on the street. That's all they know. Even at one time when they may have been a productive part of society, that's a distant memory in the recesses of their subconscious that they can't access. But they could have a chance if they could get off the stuff, get off the drugs, get off the alcohol for a period of time and be able to think straight, some for the first time in years and years. That's the answer. Now, will you save all? No, but I'll tell you one thing. I feel with every fiber of my body, you would see a significant drop in the homeless situation. But unless you're willing to get tough, you give them what they want at the time, which is a roof over their head and ability to continue doing what they're doing, running free reign, and
they don't want to, because we have the Fresno Rescue Mission, and anyhow, this could be a 5, 6, 7 hour topic.
Well, we should continue to touch on this because it is an important subject.
Yeah, our city's changing,
and I'm really concerned because the plight of the homeless. There's starting to be a societal backlash. You're seeing all of these attacks in New York. Homeless people, the latest was a homeless individual, obviously mentally deranged there, attacked just a young lady with a box cutter. You're seeing these kind of incidents all around the country. So the empathy for the homeless is starting to change a little bit. And I hate to see that, because it is our fault by not holding them accountable earlier and instituting programs like I just described. And I don't want to see all the homeless. I know them. You meet them. They're good people. There before the grace of God go you or I, Guillermo, Jeremy, everybody. I mean, I say this all the time, but it's to make it any less true. I moved 6 times in 5 years. My dad topped out at $265 an hour driving tractor. Mom cleaned houses to make ends meet. And if he would have gotten sick, we didn't have any rich relatives to move in with that would have helped us. We were all poor. And you look at that going, dadgum, I was just one bad case of the flu or something bad to that, to being homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Been homeless. You just look at going, hey, wow, look at the series of events. I was talking to this one guy the other day, a couple months ago. He was down on himself. And I said, listen, I'm not talking to you like I'm up here and you're down there. I told him my story. I said, just for a little twist of fate, you could be here, former mayor, talking to me, hooked on crack and alcohol. Could easily be reversed.
Yeah.
I could have been in prison, tatted up to my neck, with that. So we have to remember that as we work through this homeless situation, and don't confuse holding homeless accountable with something punitive. Accountability is not punitive. It's your chance to really become productive, to end bad habits, to start doing the right thing instead of the wrong thing, when you hold yourself accountable for your actions. And sometimes you just need a friend. Like we were joking for the thing, if you ever decided your lovely wife, you have a great marriage, wonderful marriage. I really, this is the couple of America.
Oh, you're too kind.
The Morenos. But it's just, what would I do to him if he decided that he was going to take a hike, and leave? And I said, I'd come there. I'd take him outside. I'd do a stiff talking to. I'd hold him accountable. He said, would you hit me? I said, no, I'll let God hit you. hit you with that guilt uppercut. Hold you accountable. But everybody needs a friend when they go astray, when they need him. Okay. Well, we've got a long time in this segment. We got to pay some bills on this.
Yeah, we do.
This is Alan Autry. No rich.
Who's this guy? Dr. Colin Call, Under Secretary of State. What the heck does that mean? Is he under the Secretary of State? Probably. I mean, the Under Secretary of State is not going to take China's bait. I think that's the right move. I think it's the right move. What do you think?
What does that mean? Take the China.
Just don't acknowledge him.
Oh, you got it. I'm all for the trip there, but
I was all for the trip too.
Yeah, but once again, couldn't they have gotten together, Nancy Pelosi, and say, let's get together on this trip. They're going over there. They play right into China's hand. You show that America can't even get their political scene going. The president doesn't want the speaker to go. Speaker defies the president. That becomes the story. They didn't hold China, accountable, and they're saying China's going, only half care about Taiwan. The president doesn't care about Taiwan.
Good point.
They can't get their act together. They do not know the messages that they're sending. Instead, like we talked, I believe this was Nancy Pelosi saying, get used to me on the world stage because I'm going to be vice president for a while after Joe Biden steps down.
I believe it.
It's just that's the only sense it makes. And she didn't feel separation from him, being at odds with him was going to be a political liability. She just went against the president. And when you do that, that's just unusual. It's highly unusual. And then she says, okay, it's political calculation, the whole thing. And Xi Jinping knows that. They're looking at the midterms. Biden's against me. Can we peel a few of these moderate Republicans off? If I go to China, I'm my own person. I stand up to China. I know how the Republicans are about standing up to China. How about these Democrats that are thinking about going over and voting Republican in the midterms? Can we keep some of them home by me going to China? Could this be the one move? I mean, it's rather than what's good for the country and showing China
1 minute,
show its strength.
Yeah.
Biden should have said, I'm going with you.
Should have.
I mean, don't you think?
Well, and when it comes to China, everyone, you need all hands on deck.
China has not been a superpower long enough. They've let it go to their head. They're a bully. They haven't been a power since 1,000 years. Although Mao leaped forward and everything, they've been a third world country.
Some things have changed.
Now they're suddenly got all this money to control in the world, and they do it the way they know how.
30 seconds.
Threatening people.
Yeah.
See, Snickers just apologized, the producer of Snickers, for saying something about.
Yeah,
I may not be flying to Oklahoma City here. This show gets back to the producers.
You keep it up.
10 seconds.
All right.
You're listening to the Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
All right, folks, we're going to shift gears here a little bit. For all of you folks that were jumping my butt, continue to jump my butt, both through email and Twitter now and then, and at the gym, my beloved gym, Vons, the grocery store, through the course of COVID, when I said, you can't take everything Dr. Fauci says, the CDC, please don't blindly follow them like Stepford men and women on their suggestions. I never once said don't follow the science. What I did say, be skeptical. Like the Greek philosophers, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, our whole Western form of society was formed about questioning things, finding out more information about things before you make a final decision and judgment. One of my best friends, Guillermo, jumped down my throat. You're a denier, and I said, look, the masks, they're cloth masks.
Yeah.
I said, I walked into a truck, the gym the other day in the bathroom with the mask on. Somebody had just been in there. Instantaneously, those turd vapors invaded my mask and into my nostrils. You don't think that a microscopic COVID virus could do the same? I'm so just saying. They're saying, and first of all, they said it wasn't going to do any good. Don't buy them, right, Guillermo?
Yeah.
Remember that with the Surgeon
yeah.
General?
Yeah.
And science is not back in 1920s. Eugenics came out. Our president embraced it. That African Americans were inferior, scientifically inferior. The brains were different.
Yep.
That they were, and that was the prevailing scientific belief at the time. Dadgum, I'm glad. The Tuskegee experiment, when the equivalent of the CDC, the government scientific community, told the black folk that had syphilis that they were given some stuff that would help them get over syphilis. They were taking placebos. They wanted to see how syphilis reacted to the final days when you actually die. They were experimented on, yet they were told completely different. So a little healthy skepticism. So I went out, put up with it, this and that, and I took my vaccine. I got first vaccine, second vaccine, I got my booster. Man, I'm vaccinated like a freaking German Shepherd. I got something pokes in me. So I don't deny science. But I saw something the other day in Vons. I want to show you this. It's on the screen right now, if it's kind of big there. Now, this is the Mayo Clinic. This was on the shelves 2 days ago. I got my groceries in my cart, and I'm getting ready to go there, and I look over right to my right, and there it was, Mayo Clinic. The lead story, the cover story, Understanding Alzheimer's, Your Guide to Brain Health. Okay? Here at Mayo Clinic.
Yeah.
Reputable.
Very.
Well, here's the catch on this story. I guess they had to go to press a few weeks ago because 4 days ago, a whistleblower from the scientific community, high up, reputable. In fact, you know he's reputable because the rest of the scientific community has not refuted him and tried to cancel him because his resume is too strong to be canceled. This is a big voice coming forward saying, you know, all that we've been telling you about Alzheimer's, how to treat it, where it's heading, what you have to do to prevent it, all the progress we're being making, it's all bogus. It's all lies. We made it up.
Wow.
We made it up were his exact words. So you say, Alan, why would they do that? Have you ever heard of a federal grant? As mayor, I did. They're fun for the right things. Free money. Well, not free money. You all pay for it. Billions of dollars going for Alzheimer's. And they got to show some progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got to let people think that they're moving somewhere towards Alzheimer's. Although, day doesn't go by that you hear about somebody getting Alzheimer's. Doesn't seem to be slowing down. And I look at this picture, Mayo Clinic, and I just want to plead with you, and I want to try to have the right acting voice. I don't want to overdo it. I want to come from my heart. I'm going to go to the method. I'm going to go to the method. I want you to believe me on this. This is what I was talking about. Olivia Newton-John just died. Guillermo just pointed that out to me. Olivia Newton-John dies at 73. She was a sweet girl, sweet lady. Yeah. I loved her. But 73, man, why does that seem young to me now? 73 years old. I mean, I used to feel 73 used to be, man, that's old. Now look at the obituary. Somebody gets died. You know, Joe Smith dies 90 years old. I go, what happened? To get hit by a truck? 90? Jeez. Yeah, but anyway, our condolences to her family. But back to the story about the Alzheimer's. You see it right there. Folks on radio, you can't see this. But it's the cover story. And it's an illustration happening right now of my position. Yes, have the scientific data that's available at the time as part of what you use to make decisions. If we're talking about something that affects you, like getting a vaccine, not getting a vaccine, where to go if you have COVID. My goodness, they shut down parks and the beach, saying that it was spreading COVID. Come on. I rode through there, man. I had the guards chase me. Mr. Mayor, don't make us call the police. I'm riding my bike through there, man. I felt like a felon, you know? It's social distancing. They shut down the beaches because you can't keep social distance. When have you gone to the beach and putting your blanket down right next to another family? You don't.
No,
it'd be uneasy. It'd be weird.
4th of July.
You don't? No, I guess you don't. I've been to those crowded beaches. Anyway, anybody with, the sense God gave a mule would say you want to be outside. Yet Lee Brand, bless his heart, closes all the parks. So you got all the kids who used to go to Roding Park, used to go to Woodward Park. That was their outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to be trapped inside. The mental health catastrophe that was caused by people blindly, like sheep, following the science of the moment, as illogical and crazy as it seemed to you. You know what? It was illogical. It was crazy. Use your common sense on things.
Yeah, but when we try to use our common sense and we try to point out what was going wrong, we seem like bigoted, murderers.
Exactly. That's my point. That's why I point out this.
Well, the crazy thing is, even today, as we know some of the facts that came, because of COVID and the fact that masks don't work, the vaccines don't work, they actually killed a lot of people. We still look like deniers. I mean, it's a messaging failure on our behalf that we weren't able to convince people with common sense.
And you dig down into what you just said. I even hate to say conservatives. I'm going to say Americans. True Americans that embrace our commitment to liberty and freedom for all. Forget about party. Just be an American who values liberty and freedom. If you don't value liberty and freedom, if you're basically a communist by nature, none of this is going to resonate.
And it never will.
Never will. So I just take that chunk. If it does matter, and I think it does matter to the vast majority of Americans, if you believe that's important, then you have to be able to take that freedom that goes with it to question things and get involved in things that matter. That because common sense again tells us you can repeat the same lie over and over, as crazy as it may be. It will get traction simply by its repetition.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Powell calls it inculcation. You become inculcated. You just hear it over and over again. Well, this happened decades ago, where the far left, the Marxist, the wokeaholics, made a very brilliant calculation. While the conservatives were telling a young man or young woman, hey, yeah, start a business, go through college, start a business, be an entrepreneur, that's all good, handy. They were telling their educated kids, get into the school system, become a teacher, become a professor, get into the media. Boom, that's where we need you. That's part of the grand plan that we have, is indoctrination. We can't indoctrinate unless we control the cultural influencers. What are the cultural influencers? High school, grammar school teachers, professors, entertainment, sports figures. So that's where it started, and we missed the boat. That's been going on for years and years and years. And that little kindergartner that has been programmed, there is now working in a corporation that has the ear of the CEO, telling that CEO they should have a gender-neutral policy and teach critical race theory in school. And America is awful, and defund the police. You have that reporter on CNN doing the same thing. You have LeBron James out there trying to endear himself. Why? Because he wants more Twitter followers. He thinks that's cool. And China, which is really a paradox. How can you be on the value freedom and liberty and be a supporter of China? Well, the simple answer is they don't value freedom. It's about that elite, cultural elite controlling the masses. So what we have to do, Americans that love America, liberty, and freedom, and believe that you should have the right to question things, the Socratic method of which our society was built upon, we got to fight back. Well, how do you do that, Alan? Just like they did. Get into school. Make sure your kids go into schools that value you. You find out who that staff is, what their beliefs are. You have a right to go and interview the principal. Don't you, Guillermo?
Oh, heck
you
yeah,
got a right. You have a right to go, okay, this teacher's going to be, I would like a parent-teacher meeting. Remember when those were popular?
Oh, I remember those. Yeah, I used to hate those.
They're gone.
Yeah.
They
don't do those anymore?
They don't want parental
I hated
involvement.
those.
When I went to school, well, hearing you talk, it seems like it was still around when you were in school.
Oh, yeah, it
You little
was.
pissant millennial. Now, I only say that. I got to stop saying that.
No, you can. Hey, listen.
No, it's not. I love millennials. My daughter's a millennial. I'm not going to do that, and especially to you. But back in the day, being part of the PTA was good. Remember Harper Valley PTA when the woman came and just gave the teachers a piece of her mind? We'll play that song. Here, we got to look at that Harper Valley PTA. Anyway, it's about
a song?
A mother who wore her skirt up a little too high, and the school was talking about her and this and that, and her kid. I think it was her kid was wearing it too high. So whatever. The mother shows up and goes Virginia School Board on her.
Didn't know.
Oh, yeah, just gives a piece of her mind. And they didn't send the attorney general down to go arrest her. But you don't hear anything about PTA anymore.
Yeah.
They don't want parental involvement. I mean, you know what? We said, okay. We just said, take our kids. We trust you. Now you're going blind trust. You can't have blind trust in government, in science, or in education. That blind trust, institutions that are purported to be righteous do some really bad things. And that's why Thomas Sowell talked about the conflict of visions in his book. He said there's the constrained division and the unconstrained vision. And he drew a parallel between the French Revolution and American Revolution. American Revolution, the French believed that man by nature, people were just good. That if you had the right institutions and you got the right people in there, then it would be utopia. Everybody would be treated fine. You wouldn't have any greed. You wouldn't have any ambition. You wouldn't have any power grabs. Just get the right institutions and right people. Contrast that to the American Revolution, which the philosophy was, look, people, man, are basically flawed, and it's fixed. That flaw is fixed. It's going to be here forever. So the best we can do is have institutions to control the damage that those flaws, the lust for power, like happened in England, and the temptation to abuse other classes of people and all that, just have institutions to control that power, to decentralize it. That's why they have the separation of powers. The executive branch, the legislative branch, the judiciary, co-equal branches of government. And what's odd about this is this great philosopher over in France at the time, Rousseau, he just could not understand that. He could not understand the concept of three equal branches. He read writings about it. What's really odd and interesting is he got arrested because the people didn't like him there because he was a forward thinker. But he stumbled on that thing about the American Revolution. Didn't make sense. Well, he was in prison, still writing how he didn't understand it. And the odd thing is, if they would have had co-equal branches, he wouldn't have been in prison.
So true.
He would have been in prison.
That's so true.
The central authority, the one voice that was there in his utopia, said, "You're going to jail." Oh, Xi Jinping sent him to jail. Even then, he didn't get it. That's why we were called the Great Experiment. They said because before America, it was either a king or an emperor ruled. It was a centralized, usually under one man. And how power was changed was, you come in, you kill all your competition.
Yeah.
And you reign till somebody takes you out. You didn't have elections. But we have a hole that we're in this country to preserve liberty and freedom. And Guillermo, every single day, I don't think that I've listened to one of your shows, and I listen to it a lot. I haven't heard you at least touch on the importance of freedom. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's why you really were supporter of Donald Trump. It wasn't the orange hair that got you. It wasn't. He was a staunch defender, love him or hate him. He was a staunch defender of individual freedoms, not freedoms reserved just for the groups or the collective.
No, without
am I on the right track on that?
You're right on the money, amongst many other things. But if you don't have the basic principles down, you're going to fail. Any job, you got to get the basics down, right? You can't just walk in and is there more basic than individual freedoms that God given? You have a right to life. Yeah, no, there's not. That is
not just my group.
Yeah,
I'm not in that group, so I don't get a right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. No, you were given by God.
Yeah.
And you were facing forces that are seeking to take that away.
And like God gives individual Christians and really anybody, you have a choice. God gives you
very good
God
point.
Gives you freedom. But he also gives you a brain, and you have a choice. During COVID and the pandemic, nobody had a choice.
Very good point.
And we're losing our free. It's all interconnected. When you look at it, it's really all interconnected. So yeah, I don't. You're right. I don't talk about freedom as much as I should.
Well, I think you do hit it. You're the individual, because I've known you well enough now. You're not going to mess your individual freedoms.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt.
You're going to say what you're going to say, regardless of if it endears you to the political folks here or not. And you would probably die for that. If that was being attacked, you would fight it.
Without a doubt. And that's why, I know I beat up on the left a lot, but I appreciate them because if you want to go off in wacko crazyville, you're entitled to that. That's your choice and that's your freedom. If you want to be a progressive, pro-choice, Trump hating, Republican, whatever. That's your choice.
I don't want you canceled.
Yeah, I don't want you canceled at all. In fact, I want to talk with you.
Exactly.
I want to have a, I'd
that's
love to
what's
have a
great
debate.
about your radio. That's why I'm doing this hour here. You do not deny anybody. You want to come in, give your side. We're not afraid of that.
Yeah, no,
your
absolutely
side
not.
of it. It could be the farthest left. We welcome that.
Yeah.
If you can come in and win a debate or what have you, we'll do it. And then we get accused of having a closed mind. Listen, I think I speak for you. I'd like to think of myself as having an open mind.
You do.
Okay.
You do.
And I'm going to I try most things to have an open mind. But also in the process of having that open mind, I'm not going to let my brain fall out. So when you're making a case to me that's absolutely insane, and I go against it, like there's no such thing as a man or a woman, or that you should teach racism to little white kids and black kids so they can never get along in life. They can grow up hating each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep an open mind to that. But my brain ain't going to fall out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go, oh, yeah, I think you're right on that. That's what this country needs. About 330 million racists. Wouldn't life be great if we had that? Kumbaya. I mean, come on. All right. Autry, Manic Monday with Guillermo Moreno. We hear Roy singing. That means we got to skedaddle. But we'll be here tomorrow, good Lord willing. Remember, just do your best. Let God do the rest. See you tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. Bye-bye now.
Just sing a song.